Welcome to Trust, Then Know, the Jackie Boyd Podcast, a podcast providing education, information, and mostly inspiration that will help you become the best version of yourself. Join host Jackie Boyd for engaging and intriguing conversations. Now, Trust, Then Know, the Jackie Boyd Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Trust Then Know, the Jackie Boyd Podcast, the first episode for 2025. Happy New Year to everyone. I hope your 2025 came in with a bang and your 2024 went out with you learning some things and you applying what you learned and coming into 2025, moving forward with vigor and energy. So happy New Year to everyone. Remember, we are on every second and fourth Tuesday of every month. You can catch us on all your major podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and you can also view us on Facebook and YouTube. So listen, we want to bring you information, education, but mostly inspiration to help you become the best version of yourself. And if anything I've said or anything that my guests have said you like, that you want to share with someone, please like and share so that they can hear this information too. So listen, thank you for staying with me. Thank you for being a part of my audience. Thank you for being a part of my tribe. Thank you for being a part of my encouragement and inspiration for my podcast, Trust Then Know, the Jackie Boyd Podcast. And I'm telling you, I wanted to start this year off with me, just me, because I wanted to set the tone for what's going to happen and what you can expect in 2025 with the Jackie Boyd Podcast. 2024, we launched, we started, and we had some phenomenal guests. I had Dr. Shalita McGowan, I had Dr. Melissa Chester and Orlando Spencer, and I had Chris Allen. And I tell you, they really helped me to set the tone for this podcast. But I got some questions. So what I'm going to do with this first episode is I want to answer some of those questions that I received. I want to talk to you about what you can expect moving forward. And I want to leave you with a few words of encouragement that will help you move forward in your 2025 with vigor and strength and just preparedness to face whatever there is to come in 2025 for you. So first of all, I want to talk about the name, Trust Then Know, the Jackie Boyd Podcast. There were a couple of people who said, what does Trust Then Know mean? And maybe you need to be a little bit more specific about the title of your podcast. Well, from the onset, I wanted to bring a podcast that was going to be valuable and invaluable. Okay, I wanted to bring information, education, but mostly inspiration to help you become the best version of yourself. Somebody actually asked me, well, what do you have to trust and what do you have to know? You trust whatever it is you need to trust to get the information you need to be better. It's that simple. Someone even asked, do you think you should change the name? And I said, no, I'm not going to change the name. Trust Then Know, the Jackie Boyd Podcast is all about helping you, perhaps trusting yourself. Sometimes we don't trust us enough to do the things we have to do. There's so many gifts and talents in projects and processes and books that are inside of us that we never get out because we don't trust ourselves enough to do that. I want to encourage you through this podcast to trust yourself. Sometimes it's not yourself. Sometimes you got to trust other people. And that's sometimes where we really have a tough time because we just want to stay within ourselves. But you have to trust other people, processes, and things sometimes to get to the next step. So again, the Jackie Boyd Podcast is going to bring you information and people and experts in their field so that you can get the information you need to help you learn, grow, and become better. So you see the full circle there? It's a full circle. You have to sometimes trust yourself. Sometimes you got to trust other people. Sometimes you have to trust processes. Sometimes you have to trust projects and things in order to be better. And that's what we all want to do. We want to be the best version of ourselves. And that's what I want this podcast to do, to bring you invaluable and valuable information to help you be the best version of yourself. So that's what the Trust Then Know, the Jackie Boyd podcast is all about. And I am not changing the name. So there you have it. So now I want to talk to you about what you can expect in 2025. 2024, the launch was phenomenal. And I'm telling you, the guest that I had brought it. Dr. Shalita McGowan, for instance, and she launched her podcast. Congratulations, Dr. Shalita. She talked about a tragedy that she experienced that she never wanted to talk about. But it was only in the talking, in the getting the information out of her that helped her heal, right? So that was very, very important. She brought some very invaluable information, and you have to check her podcast out. And then Chris Allen, fitness and mindset coach, came and talked about when he was in a dark space and how he had to spend time within himself to come out of that. That he had always had the gift of being able to encourage people, but him himself needed encouragement. So he talked about that. And imagine that. Sometimes we don't get healed because we think we're all alone. We think we're on the island all by ourselves, right? But it's only when someone shares what they've gone through, what they've endured and overcome, that gives us the encouragement and the inspiration to do the same. So we'll say, man, if that happened to them and they got through it, surely I can. So it's so important that you talk about those things that we want to keep secret. And we do have to be selective and use discernment and pray for direction about who we share these things with. But the bottom line is we do have to get them out in order to be better and in order to grow. We cannot deal with what we don't face. So we have to face those things in order to grow and to be better. And then my last guests were Dr. Melissa Chester and Orlando Spencer. The outgoing, the immediate past president, Dr. Melissa Chester, and the incoming new president of FCAR, the First Coast Association of Realtors, which is a board with the National Association of Real Estate Brokers. They came on, and I mean they brought it. They came and talked to us about community, about how neighborhoods are strengthened and how communities come together and how everyone can achieve the dream of home ownership. So my guests came and they had something to say. And that's what I want to be able to do, to provide you with information, education, but mostly inspiration to help you become the best version of yourself. And it's only through that sharing and hearing other people's story that sometimes we get that inspiration and encouragement. So I hope that who you heard helped you. So we have guests who have something to say. I'm going to have a guest from the Jacksonville city. I'm going to have someone who is going to come and talk to us about being adventurous. She just got her boating license, so now she can actually take people out on the boat. I'm going to talk to a dear friend of mine who had an illness that she thought was going to be very, very serious and very tragic. But guess what? She was able to survive that. And now she's writing her story about how she overcame that and how God blessed her to really be able to tell her story. And there are going to be so many others. And at the end of this, it's all about, again, us being better. And sometimes that only comes by hearing, that only comes by someone sharing, that only comes by something we've read, that only comes sometimes even by something we've experienced. So the Trust Then Know Jackie Boyd podcast is all about bringing you people, again, who have something to say, and those things that they are saying can help you become better. So with that said, I want to share with you 3 things that I think whatever you do this year, it doesn't matter what you do. If you apply these 3 things to your life, I promise you, regardless of what you face, regardless of what comes your way, I promise you, if you apply these 3 things, it's going to be okay. It doesn't matter if the waves get kind of choppy. It doesn't matter if things get a little blurry. If you apply these 3 things, they've helped me. I guarantee you, your perspective is going to change. The first one is, number 1, live with no regrets. Don't have regrets. How do you not have regrets? Live in a way that you don't have to say, I wish I woulda. Don't do that. Live every day to the fullest. At the end of every day, you should be exhausted because you've poured out of yourself, right? Whatever comes your way, whatever person comes your way, whatever circumstance comes your way, whatever situation comes your way, face it with prayer. I pray. But whatever you do to get your strength and do that in a way that you don't have to have any regrets. So if and when any type of thing in life starts lifing, you won't have to say, I wish I woulda. Live with no regrets. Number 2, tell the people you love that you love them. Tell the people you love that you love them and give them their flowers while they can see them and smell them. Listen, we don't have to be conservative with accolades, okay, or conservative with affection. Tell the people you love that they're special and that you love them every day. Don't be liberal with it. Be liberal with your affection. Be liberal with your accolades. Be liberal with your pats on the back. Be liberal with that. Because all of us want to know that we're appreciated, and we all want to know that we're loved and understood. So the people that are around you that God has placed in your life, they're special. They're gifts. Let those people know how much you care about them and how much you love them every day. And number 3, probably the most consequential one of all, is forgive frequently, quickly, and often. Do not hold on to anything. Forgive. Forgiveness is never about the other person. It's always about you. It's about you. When you forgive, you are releasing out of you. You're not holding on to things that keep you bound. Forgive frequently, quickly, and often. Let people know that you release them, you forgive them. We don't have to forget, but we should forgive. When you forgive, there is a freeness that you get. You feel free. You're not holding on to anything. You're not nursing anything. You're not trying to keep a checklist of what was and what wasn't. Just forgive. Life is short and it is fleeting. But when you live it in a way that you don't have to have regrets, that you love the people you love and you let them know that you love them, and you forgive quickly, frequently, and often, I'm telling you, regardless of what you're doing, regardless of what's happening, you are going to feel a sense of freedom as you move through those things. Circumstances are going to come and go. Life is going to always life. Always. We know that. But listen, if you hold on to those 3 things and apply them to your life, I promise you, even when that life comes, you're going to have a sense of buoyancy and you're going to feel good. And you're going to be able to go every day into each day with energy, positivity, great vibes, and just dropping seeds of joy, love, and peace. And I tell you, that's how we all want to live. So listen, that's all I have for you on this first episode of the Trust and Know Jackie Boyd podcast. So what did you hear? You heard about the guest that brought it in 2024. You heard about why I'm not changing the name. It is still Trust and Know the Jackie Boyd podcast. And you heard about what's to come in 2025. And you heard about the 3 things that if you apply to your life, I promise you, you're going to feel a sense of joy and freedom. And that's all I have for you. Listen, please tune in again every 2nd and 4th Tuesday of every month. Every month, every 2nd and 4th Tuesday, we're on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and you can see us on YouTube and Facebook. I want you to do whatever you have to do to get the information you need and the education you need to be the best version of yourself. That's what you need to do. And you can tune in to the Trust and Know Jackie Boyd podcast. And I promise you, I'm going to bring you people who have something to say, who's going to bring you information, education, but mostly inspiration. So until next week, be the best version of yourself. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you for listening and watching this episode of Trust, Then Know, the Jackie Boyd podcast. We hope this episode has left you informed, intrigued, and inspired to become your best self. Remember to tune in every 2nd and 4th Tuesday of the month and trust, then know.